happened 3 weeks ago, and at the time of this recording, no arrests have been made, no suspect identified, and no murder weapon recovered. And joining me to talk about the latest in this investigation is my sidebar co-host, Anjanette Levy, who is on the ground in Moscow, Idaho. Anjanette, it's good to see you. I know it's freezing over there. Before we get into this idea of the car, a very important aspect of this car that police mentioned, can you tell us where you are right now, what the scene is?
You know, Jesse, it's good to be with you. We are about a block away from the house on King Road where these homicides occurred a little more than 3 weeks ago. And where I'm standing right now is in front of the Sigma Chi house. The Sigma Chi house is important in this investigation because Ethan Chapin, one of the victims, and his girlfriend, Xana Kernodle, were at a party here at the Sigma Chi house around 9 p.m. on November 12th. That was that Saturday night, hours before these homicides occurred. They then made their way, it's our understanding, made their way from the Sigma Chi house over to the house on King Road, arrived there around 1:45 a.m. There had been some questions. Police had put out a call for information earlier this week about where Ethan and Xana were between the hours of 9 p.m. and 1:45 a.m. Were they here the whole time at the Sigma Chi house? I asked that question of the PIO yesterday. I didn't get an answer. He said they had received more information about their whereabouts, but he wouldn't tell me where they were. There's since been some other reporting that they've determined that Ethan and Xana were here at the Sigma Chi house all night. We're trying to confirm that, and then made their way over about a block away to the home where they ended up being murdered. Ethan, of course, was a member of the fraternity here, and Xana was somebody who was known to the people in the fraternity as well. Actually, on Tuesday, Reed off soon, and he was leaving for class, and we were standing outside trying to talk to members of the fraternity, and we were told they had put out a statement. Reed was very nice, said they didn't want to really say anything, that they had told the FBI, Idaho State Police, and Moscow Police everything they knew. They had given them all the information they had, and that they were cooperating with the investigation. And so he didn't say much more than that, other than he was friends with Ethan and Xana, considered them friends. Ethan, of course, a member here, lived at the Sigma Chi house. And then happened to run into him again yesterday when that information about the car came out from Idaho State Police and Moscow Police.
Okay, that's what I want to talk about. So this is I would say probably the biggest update we've had so far, given this week maybe, and maybe in the last week and a half. The police are looking for a car, right? Well, what do we know?
Well, this came out late Wednesday. They put out an update after they cleared the belongings of the three victims out of their home. The police put out an update on Facebook, and really this is the most specific call for information that we've really received, other than them asking for information about Ethan and Xana's whereabouts on Saturday, November 12th. They released some stock photos of a Hyundai Elantra between the years, they believe, of 2011 and 2013. They don't have a license.
If everybody was like Ethan Chapin in this world, it would be a better place.
Like trying dance music and going on family trips with her sister and father.
She was my baby sister, but she was so much wiser and experienced so much more in life than I ever have. She never let an opportunity pass her by and enjoyed all the moments she had.
At the University of Idaho, Xana lived in a rental house with 5 other women. One of her roommates, Madison Mogan, was also her co-worker at the Mad Greek restaurant.
I know she loved living in her house in Moscow with her friends. I would hear so many stories about her and her roommates. It made me so happy to know she had such great friendships.
She was dating Ethan Chapin, her first boyfriend.
They were always so happy, and the way she would talk and smile about him was something I've never seen her do before. She truly loved him so much, and I know he had so much love for her. They had something so special, and everyone around them knew.
And Xana's loss has left those around her heartbroken.
Xana, you will not be forgotten. You have impacted so many lives and have given people so much love. I hope I can make you proud and try to leave an impact on this world and on people like you did.
Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. I'm a licensed cognitive behavior therapist, that's a CBT therapist, and a licensed mental health counselor. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the contents in this channel. This is the case of the Idaho quadruple murders. May the 4 victims rest in peace, condolence to the families, and may the correct justice be served. On the 13th of November 2022, 4 precious victims were brutally deleted. They were unalived. It took 7 weeks for Moscow, Idaho, law enforcement and the FBI to bring a suspect in and charge person for the quadruples. I've always said from the beginning of my Huda London Mental Health and Crime channel, I've always said that I believe that this is 2 separate attacks, 2 separate incidents with different motives. I don't even believe the timeline of the 2 attacks will happen at the same time. I believe there's a slight difference there. I came to that conclusion, in my opinion, through everything I've been researching and watching from, I believe, 2 weeks after the unalivings. A couple of months ago, 6-7 months ago, it came into my attention and I showed y'all when the people at the grub truck around somewhere between 5 past 2 a.m. right up to 2:20, you hear a crowd yelling out Xana's name and E's name. They were watching something on their devices. It could have been anything, but most likely it was either pictures or a recording, because they were yelling Xana's name loudly. This was maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes after Kaylee and Maddie left the grub truck. That's why I believe E and Xana were deleted before. That's number 1. Number 2, the reason I came to this conclusion is when you hear E's mom saying 2 a.m. is the hardest time for our family. I don't know if she's just relating to her family or to their family and Xana's family too. Something happened at 2 a.m. Let's not forget E's triplets go to the same university. They attend the same university. But for the mother to say 2 a.m. is the most difficult time for their family, that means obviously her children called, they're in shock. They called the mom and dad and told them what happened to E. That's what I believe happened. Something happened, I believe, to Kaylee and Maddie. I've always said, and I'll make it in my next episode, something happened to them after E and Xana. These 2 incidents wasn't related 100%. I believe there could be many suspects. There could be many different people involved. This is not straightforward, because you can try and understand that through everything going on that night. You see it, you can see people's behaviors. You saw the four figures running. When you put all that together, so I don't know what happened to E and Zana, but something definitely happened to them while they went to the Sigma Chi fraternity party, in my opinion. We heard a female yelling, "Stop it, stop." That was around 2:54. I believe that had to be either Kaylee or Maddie. Zana and E were going to be at home, according to Zana's father. Zana's father said that he spoke to his daughter last at 12 midnight, and she said she was going to order some food and stay at home. Or she was, chilling at home. But Zana and E were seen at the Sigma Chi fraternity party. And allegedly they were having some problems with the Davids. That's all allegedly. Zana and E used to always take pictures of themselves. They were lively, happy couple. This is the age of social media. 20 years old take pictures of themselves very often, especially at parties. But that night, no pictures were seen of Zana and E after the Betty's ball. That was 8 to 9. And that would have been E and his sister Maisie, his triplet, and Hunter and Maisie's roommate, who all went out on a date to the Betty ball. Zana wasn't with them. So did anyone actually see Zana that day? Zana wasn't in any of the pictures, if you pay attention to that. "2 a.m. is the hardest time for a family." What happened at 2 a.m.? Where was E found at home? He was found at the doorway of Zana's room. Did something happen outside? Did they drag him inside? But then they should have been too messy. Allegedly. Let's not forget, many of the students and friends have the code to the door. The sliding door could have easily been left open on purpose, or that the victims forgot to lock it after they let Murphy out for a party, according to Kaylee's sister. His friend said that he saw E lost, that he got a text from E between 2:10 to 2:15 in the morning, and E was at the Sigma Chi fraternity. The friend's mother contacted the FBI and gave them the information. It was never updated, or the timeline was never changed, and that frustrated the mother. So what really happened that night? The driver that drove Kaylee and Maddie home said that the frats were having a party. He said he could hear music coming from that direction. So there was definitely a party. What could have gone wrong in that party? If you pay attention to the 4chan, although it's an enormous article, you can clearly see that the 19 minutes that they always mention that these boys, these young men in the 4chan were going to do it, makes so much sense, because you see the four figures running after the 19 minutes. I assume they were running from in front of the house, Sigma Chi, right up to No, they were running from Kings Road, 1122 Kings Road, to the Sigma Chi. Of course, I'm sure all the students, or most of the students who lived nearby, knew about the shakedown. Everyone, I believe, knew about the shakedown. Everyone knew that something or the other was going down in that house. But nobody can talk. Don't forget what Showalter, aka Hoodie Guy, said. He said clearly, you know they're going to get you for that, Maddie. And that's when Kaylee says, Maddie, what did you tell Adam? But obviously, the neighbors are not going to say what they saw from the windows or what they heard. And the people at the Sigma Chi fraternity party, all the interviews and everything are on gag orders. Because they must have seen everything brewing. They must have saw the fight. But nothing was done. Nobody's going to talk. A reward wasn't put out there on purpose because obviously I don't believe they wanted all this, the truth to come out. Because I believe within these 7 weeks, something happened for the police to come out with the decision that, okay, we're just going to blame the whole case on this side of the map, Washington Pullman and Brian Christopher COUPEL. Although I'm not saying Brian is completely innocent, he could be involved with some other people, or he could be innocent. But what has happened in that 7.5 weeks is important. But let's go back to the 4 figures running. That's extremely problematic because there's no explanation to why were those 4 figures running or jogging or whatever they were doing. What was happening? Where did the 4 figures come from? Where were they going? They look like they came from Kings Road and they're going to the Sigma Chi. They said in the 4chan that they were going to do this in 19 minutes. They said what their motives and the targets were. They said that Kaylee wasn't the target, but Kaylee could have been somebody else's target, like the Jacks. What was actually happening that night? Venmo started flowing at 3:30 p.m. or was it at 3 or 1 a.m. in the morning? After 3. Jack K sent him a Venmo. His sister sent a Venmo to him. Saeed sent a Venmo. There were many people sending Venmos to each other. And then the GoFundMe of Sigma Chi was open for E. Wasn't it JK who started it? And what happened to Jack Showalter? Where did he go? They allegedly drove to his family's cabin, so that is one person we are sure left the areas. I've noticed many people are, or some people actually, just focus on the Howard Blum's article, and I've already said my opinion about him. He already says from the start, he works with storytellings, whether they're fictional or whether they're real events. He says that he has a lot of facts in his book, basically, or they're all facts, according to him. Let's not forget he made the airmail articles. Was it part 1, 2, and 3? And I found that very interesting because, in fact, he exposed that there were many other people in the scene. So he's done a lot of good for this case. Let's not focus on that just he's making a book out of this case. Obviously, many people are just trying to be opportunists and take absolute opportunity of this case. Like the mainstream news, media, and Howard Blum trying to run with one theory, and that's not fair. We want the correct justice. So that's why I'm not bothered to really care what much he says. I'm sure he has a bit facts, but then for him to be talking about what is in Brian Christopher Kohlberger's father's head, I'm sure he got all his sources and everything that he spoke about the family. He must have got it from Brian Christopher's father, his sister-in-law, the woman who lives in Las Vegas, if you remember. Was it like 9 months ago she was going around saying that Brian Christopher Kohlberger was a weirdo as a child and he wouldn't go outside or he wouldn't cycle the bikes and all that when he and his family came to her on a holiday in Las Vegas. She really already made Brian Christopher Kohlberger look like a SK and like a weirdo, and that's so unfair because you're not supposed to just judge any person without, especially this case is on a gag order. So I don't understand what is this gag order about, because what's his name? Howard Blum is clearly saying that he got all these facts and he got these sources and all before the gag order. So he's using material that is before the gag order. That is not right. That is absolutely not right that he's using material before the gag order, because that should go under evidence. And I hope Ann Taylor does something about it, because if he's actually saying that, I've watched all these interviews from Megyn Kelly to Nancy Grace to Law and Crime, and I think there's another 2-3 channels he's done it with. And I'm sure he's a great reporter. He is definitely, because I checked, I researched his background and all, and I do research before I come and I discuss or argue about his book or pass comments about his books. But yes, I've always said that this case is going on a very wrong side, because even if he has the facts, he shouldn't be tainting the jury pool by putting these things up, whether the facts, fictions, thoughts, ideas. It's just not right. It's not fair for the 4 victims to get their correct justice, and it's not fair for him to be putting out things that he claims are facts without putting out without putting out where he got his resources from, without putting out the receipts. I can understand it's difficult for him to get receipts because there's confidentiality and all that, but then this case hasn't even made it to the trial. And I've read a bit of his book, and he keeps on insisting that there's that the case needs to say Later County. And that is sus for me to hear. Because if anyone wants the correct justice to be made, they would want the correct justice for the victims and for Beaky. They would have said, take it to a bigger court venue, like Boise, Idaho. Because Later County, this is a very emotional, triggering case for them. You saw what happened when the interview came out, when Ann Taylor was trying to conduct the, what was it called? Trying to conduct the survey. You saw at once they went and reported it to the prosecutor, William Thompson, and then it became a couple of days court of wasting time and wasting the budget by going up and down with it. So there's some things that doesn't make sense. Why bother? It's like there's so much hush-hush in this case that you wonder, what are they actually hiding? If Brian Christopher Kohlberger did it, yeah, then explain to us how. What is the motive? Apparently he did not know these 4 victims. Did he know the surviving roommates is the question. That's what I always believe he did. He had to know one of them, and he mentioned one of them as exculpatory evidence, and that's Bethany Funk. And if he came back 9:15 in the morning for his around the area because his car or his phone pinged in the area, why did he come back? Is it because he forgot the knife sheet, or is it because he lent the whole knife and the knife sheet to one of the surviving roommates or to the victims? Just a thought. Howard Bloom is guessing too, so we can. But where is the boundaries? Where is the line that you have to think, now we're crossing the line too far, and that it could be tainting the jury pool? If this ends up in a hung jury, Koberger will end up getting off. And maybe he's not guilty. And maybe he needs to get off. But what happens to the real people who did these horrific crimes? Doesn't the family and these victims deserve the correct justice? Where was the couple? Where was Zana and E? And I believe the 4chan in many ways, because I've always said the 4chan is not the Jackson or have written it. No, somebody was taking credit for the work, or somebody was trying to expose the Davids. Tell you. Because it makes so much sense that they said from David L's room, you can clearly see the second and third floor in 1122 Kings Road. The second floor would be E and Zana's room, or Zana's room, the living room. Third floor will be Maddie and Kaylee's rooms. So when the lights would go off, they would go and do it within 90 minutes. They've already said how they're going to do it. So why wouldn't we want to believe them? Something happened to the couple while they were at the Sigma car, either on the way home, or somebody came and attacked them as soon as they got home. Something is not right with E and Zana. And I believe that is really important. Just like the 8 hours timeline gap with the surviving roommates that we all are baffled over, the couple's timeline is crucial in this case. I've always said that. And I've always said it's two separate incidents. Two separate motives. I won't be surprised if 3 or 2 organizations are really involved. I just want to know where BK comes into it. Was he someone who was rented in this case? Was he the guy who actually said, I'm here to help? What's her name? Did she actually see him? DM? Or is she just making up a fictional character? Bushy eyebrows. There's so many people with bushy eyebrows. What happened that night, actually? There was a party. So there was a party at the Sigma Chi. I wonder if the couple brought somebody home. Because pay attention to when they're imitating each other. The 5 roommates, surviving roommates, are imitating each other 2 weeks before the quadruples. DM is acting like Zana, and she says, guys, is it all right if I make a small party? It's not going to be big, it's going to be small with a small gathering. Think about that. So Zana was known to have parties and gatherings, small gatherings. So could she have invited maybe the guys we saw at the band field and Said? Maybe they asked them to leave and go home and they refused and made a scene. Could that be possible? Just a question. One of them had on Vans. The Davids, Zana, and E, whatever beef they were having was brewing since the fall. Just said in the 4chan, and I believe that. I do talk about the 4chan. I've been talking about the 4chan from the beginning of this case. But I really believe that that is the mindset. The person who's talking about it is telling us on the mindset of the Sigma Chi. It was the Davids, I believe. I don't believe that had anything to do with the Jacks. I think the Jacks are more involved with Maddie and Kaylee's incident. But these two other students, it was the Davids and the Sigma Chi's, allegedly, in my opinion. There was beef going on. I'm not saying they did it, but I'm saying they know exactly what happened to the two students. Why wouldn't E and Zana take pictures? They were in an event. You saw E took that picture that I just showed you all with his sister and his brother, his triplets, and the sister's roommate, who Hunter was the date. Hunter took as a date. You saw E dressed smartly with the black suit. Why wasn't there any pictures taken of E and Zana after that? Where were they? What happened to them? What could have happened to them? I really believe something happened to the couple first. Because the way they're yelling Zana's name, it is something to think of. And we have Maddie and Zana, who both have something in common. They work for the Mad Creek, and those one have some question marks actually. And if remember, the mainstream media was running with the fact that what's his name, Brian Christopher Koberger, used to order food for the Mad Creek. I was wondering if he was ordering food from the Mad Creek, and you have Maddie and Zana working for the Mad Creek. Could it be possible that Brian Christopher Koberger was running errands or something for the Mad Creek owners? What if something was going on there? We know that Maddie was doing events and all for the Mad Creek, and she's writing the menus and all that. So she seemed to be an organizer for the Mad Creek. Zana was lively, happy and all. Zana said she was involved with the Vandals Solutions, and that's some economics and marketing side of the project in the university. She said she was involved in Palouse marketing. She was working for them. She was calling around, renting out properties, I guess. Sales. She said she was involved with the sales team. So could those two have had any significance? Could they have had anything to do with this case? The places Zana was working in. I wonder if whatever WSU Kim said, I believe there's a lot of it that is the truth. There could have been some kind of shakedown going. Let's not forget Mr. What's his name? Mr. William Thompson said clearly, I mentioned that yesterday, my other channel. He said that the students wasn't the target, the house was the target. What did he mean by that? Why is the house the target? Was there something that was stored or saved in the house that wasn't supposed to be? Something is not right. Could it be possible? I always believed that the house, the resident was the target, and some of the victims were the target, if not all four. I've always believed they were all four were the targets, but they were separate targets and separate events. So in this clip, my question is, where was the couple? Did they ever make it home safely? The president of the Sigma Chi did not want to answer questions. He said he was busy at class. He said, we don't have cameras. Don't ever forget that. He said, we don't have cameras at the Sigma Chi. So they obviously knew they didn't have cameras. If they had cameras, they would have taken it out. There's this guy called Martin who had a party, obviously. That I've always said from the beginning, because it's all about doing active listening as a skill, and you can really hear in the beginning of the band field, you can hear when the officer tells these boys to stop and they run off, and the officer puts his torch on. And he says, I told you to stop, Moscow PD, please stop. And then they start making small conversations with the officers, asking them if they drive hybrid cars. And the officer said, yes, we've been downgraded and all because the government is saving money. Imagine they're telling these two little boys, yeah? When the boys were asked, where did you come from? They did say they came from Martin's house. They didn't say Martin, they said Mats. So Mats is obviously the short from Martin, I guess, or Matthew. Sorry, it wasn't Martin, it was Matthew. So Mats, they came from Mats's house. They said it clearly. And they didn't say it at once. The first two did not know whose house it was. The third one said, I think his name was Mats. And they pointed out to the direction of King's Road. Saeed says he lives there, and he pointed out towards Sale Avenue. So was there a party going on there that night? Was there something going on at Matt's house? We saw the 4 figures running. What was those 4 figures about? Were they thoroughly investigated? Jagdish said he fell asleep. That was his alibi. We saw his white pickup car, just the black lines. We saw it driving towards the corner club when Maddie, Kaylee, and Jack Schwartz are walking from the corner club to the grub truck. Everything that was going on the grub truck was just madness, pure madness. Something was not right in what was going on. Anything could have happened when the girls were at the corner club. I've always said that. Something could have been slipped in the drinks or anything. Number 9 looked like he was already waiting for Maddie to come in. David Lott and his 2 friends turned away the second Maddie and Kaylee and Jack Schwartz walked in. They turned away towards the reflection of the window. They turned their back towards the girls when they were coming in. And then you see Jack Schwartz, aka Hoodie Guy, nodding his head to David Lott. The Sigma Chi's, I believe, are really involved. It's sad that people may get away with this incident. Please like, share, and subscribe. Guys, I'll be uploading most of my stuff in this channel from now onwards. I hope you'll have a lovely day. Bye.